Hey student, watch this video if you want to learn 5 phrasal verbs for driving in English. Coming up. Hey friends, Teacher Prix here to help you talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime in English. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on another video. And if it's your first time here, consider subscribing. From Monday to Friday, I have English lessons of all kinds. Grammar, reading, listening, vocabulary, general tips, speaking tips. All for you so that you can become a better English speaker. So hey, consider subscribing. Anyways, my friends, today we are going to focus on 5 driving phrasal verbs. My first question is, do you drive? Let me know here in the comments or in the chat if you're watching this video live. All these lessons, they are always live, okay? So if you have the time, you can always come join me live. And well, anyways, if you drive, do you like to drive? 2 different questions. Do you drive and do you like to drive? Let me know. I love driving. I can drive and I love it. Moving on, guys. The first phrasal verb I want to show you is to cut off, to cut someone off. Now, guys, big disclaimer here. With pretty much all these phrasal verbs, I think most of them, I think the 5 of them, there will be different meanings, different translations, okay? So that is very natural when it comes to phrasal verbs. But for this lesson, I'm going to focus on the translations, on the explanations connected to driving, okay? So that's my focus today. And by the way, if you enjoy this kind of video, make sure to hit the like button. That way I know what kind of lessons you like more, what kind of lessons you don't like so much. So by hitting the like button, I can know what kind of videos you like, and YouTube too. YouTube understands that you like this kind of video, so you will receive more notifications from me, okay? But here we go. As I said, to cut someone off is the first phrasal verb of today's lesson. When you cut someone off, you are basically blocking someone's way. Maybe you were on a one lane, okay? Let's imagine a street. And let's imagine there are 2 lanes going into the same direction. You are on the right and your friend or another person is on the left. You cut off this person. You go and you cut, you block this person's way, okay? You drive in front of the person to the other lane. And this is a way to change lanes, but depending on how you do it, it's dangerous, it's not safe, and you are cutting someone off when you do that, okay? And here I have a small picture. As you can see, there's a car going to the left. This car is pretty close to the car behind it, so it's basically cutting the other person off. All right, so that's not really cool, okay? It's dangerous. Here are some examples. I can't believe it. That moron just cut me off. Moron is a stupid person. That moron, that stupid person just cut me off. Ugh. I hate when people cut me off. I absolutely despise people who cut me off. Because guys, there are ways to change lanes, okay? And you can do this nicely, all right? So be nice when you're cutting people off. Actually, change lanes calmly. Come on. Another example, be careful, Peter. You can't just cut off people like that. It's rude and dangerous, okay? Now, everybody needs to change lanes sometimes, okay? Just make sure that you are at a safe distance. That way you're not cutting off people, you know, you're not cutting someone off. You're just changing lanes properly. Awesome, moving on to the second phrasal verb, buckle up, all right? To buckle up means to fasten your seatbelt, okay? To fasten your seatbelt because, hey, my friend, I don't know where you're from, but in many countries, if you do not have your seatbelts on, you can get a ticket, Okay? Not cool. So if you do not have your seatbelt on, you may get a ticket. That's not cool. Here in Brazil, I think that when you don't have a seatbelt on, you can get a really expensive ticket. Let me know about the Brazilian drivers here watching my video. How expensive is the ticket is the if you don't have your seatbelts on, all right? You or the passengers or the back seat passenger, it doesn't matter who doesn't have the seatbelt. If a police officer stops you, all right, here we have specific professionals, traffic officers, professionals that monitor traffic. But in the United States, for example, it's very common for police officers to stop drivers. Okay, so to buckle up means to fasten your seatbelt, and you may fasten your seatbelt on an airplane, in the car. So it depends. If you have a seatbelt, you have to fasten it. You have to buckle up. So here an example. James always forget to buckle up. Oh my God, you cannot forget that. That's super important. True story. When I traveled to the United States, and I was an au pair, okay, and I took care of kids. But in my first host family, I remember that when I first went out with my host mother by car, here in Brazil, in the back seat, people don't usually wear a seatbelt. Oh, I'm so sorry, that's terrible, but people don't usually buckle up in the back seat. Hey, if you're Brazilian, you know what I'm talking about, okay? It's terrible. I'm trying to change that. But when I got there and I was in the back seat, she didn't start the car. She was waiting. And I was like, why are we waiting? And then she said, well, buckle up. And then I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. I felt so bad. I felt really guilty because I was in the back seat and I forgot to buckle up. And my host mother at that time just stood there waiting for me. She didn't say anything. I had to ask her and say like, hey, can we go? And she was like, sure, buckle up first. And she was right. Safety always comes first. Another thing that is very common, especially for parents with kids, when they are going on a road trip, they can look at their kids and say, hey, buckle up, kids, we're going on a road trip. So this is a very common phrase you hear in movies, TV series, friends can tell each other, so hey, buckle up, we're going on a road trip. It's gonna be fun. So this is something you can tell, okay? Excellent. And hey, remember to hit the like button because this really helps the channel and it helps me, Teacher Prix, understand what kind of lessons you enjoy the most. And I've noticed that you guys really enjoy phrasal verbs. So every week there's a new phrasal verb lesson just for you. Awesome. Next phrasal verb is to pull over. Now, guys, I cannot begin to say that, I can't emphasize this enough, but there are many different ways to say pull over in English, okay? Every time I talk about this phrasal verb, a student comes, oh, but how about that one? Oh, how about that one? Yes, there are more, but my focus today is pull over, okay? What is to pull over? Pull over means to stop your car on the side of the road. Okay, you're driving on a lane, and then for some reason you have to drive to the side of the road and stop your car. Okay, maybe your phone is ringing, maybe there's a bee in the car and you have to pull over. It's an emergency. I cannot drive my car if there's a mosquito, if there's a bee. I cannot teach if there's a bee. Okay, I panic. If there's a bee inside my apartment, I cannot start working. Literally, guys, it's horrible. So there are many reasons why a person needs to pull over. It is very common for police officers in the United States to ask people to pull over. Okay, maybe they give a sign for them to pull over. This is very common. Maybe they are monitoring a specific highway, so they see you, they tell you to pull over, and sorry, buddy, you gotta pull over. So here an example. A police officer asked me to pull over last night, and guess what? I got a speeding ticket. Oh, unbelievable. I was not driving that fast. So a speeding ticket is when you are driving too fast. So a police officer, if he stops you, he may give you a ticket. A ticket is a piece of paper, and it's with your details, and you have to pay because you were against the rules. You were not following the rules. You were breaking the rules. So if you drive above the speed limit, you may probably get a speeding ticket. Okay, that's really boring. So a police officer may ask you to pull over because of that, or because they are just monitoring people. They don't really need a reason to ask you to pull over. If they look at you, driving, and they are just pulling over people, they'll ask you to pull over, and you will have to do it. When I saw the ambulance, here there's no police officer, but when I saw the ambulance, I immediately pulled over. This is also very common. For example, here in Sao Paulo, there's a lot of, excuse me, here in Sao Paulo, there's a lot of traffic, okay? Especially at rush hour, 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., it's awful. Oh, my nose is itching. If you watch my videos, you know that my nose always itches, and I don't know why. Every now and then my nose starts itching, and I don't know why. Okay. Well, as I was saying, so during rush hour, it's very difficult for ambulances to drive. So if you hear the sound, it's important that you try to help. So most cars, they pull over. They do whatever they can to help the ambulance. So this is also a popular way, because most of the times when an ambulance is driving, when you hear the ambulance coming, you have to pull over, and many times you have to stop. So you pull over to the side of the road and you stop if possible. You make space, you make room for the ambulance to drive. Okay, they need it. It's an emergency. Have you ever been in an ambulance? I have. Well, now that it's over, not cool, now it's cool. Like, yeah, I was in an ambulance, check. But not really nice, it's not cool. Moving on. To fill up. All right, so to fill up basically means to put gas in your tank. But here, pay attention. If you use when you're using this phrasal verb, it means that you want the person, or you are going to complete the tank until you're going to fill up the tank until it's completely full. Okay, this is very common for native speakers to use and to say. Now, big disclaimer here, I don't know where you're from, but for example, here in Brazil, at gas stations, there's always someone helping. There's like an assistant, and he's gonna fill up the tank for you. Okay, and another very common thing here in Brazil, because the gas is so expensive, we never fill up the tank. Or I don't know, maybe you do, maybe I'm just cheap, okay? But not everybody fills up the tank. Maybe they just put a little money, and here in Brazil we talk a lot about money, okay? Like we ask for a certain amount of money. But in the US, you usually two differences. In the US, it's very common for people to fill up the tank. And the second thing, they don't have someone at the gas station to help you, okay? First time I went to a gas station, I'm not gonna lie, I took a picture. I should have posted here. Oh, I'm sorry. If I find this picture, I will post on Facebook community page area, okay? But I was so excited that I was filling up my tank that I took a picture. Lame, but I was very excited that I was filling up my tank by myself in the United States. Come on, that was a big deal for me. Anyways, if there is someone helping in small towns in the United States, maybe there could be someone helping. If there is, hey, morning, sir, fill it up, please. Yo, use your English. But maybe you are in a conversation. Maybe you're talking to someone and you and your friend are planning a trip. So what's the first thing you think? Oh, we're taking the highway? No. We got to fill up the tank first, okay, before we take the highway. Usually, if you're going to go on a long trip, it's a good idea to fill up the tank, okay? Awesome. If you enjoy this kind of lesson, if you are enjoying this lesson, make sure to hit the like button. And hey, 50%, more than 50% actually, of people who watch my videos and share my videos are not subscribed. So check your subscription. Make sure to be subscribed on my channel because then you will receive all notifications of my everyday lessons. It's really good. You help the channel grow and you will always get notified of the new lessons and the new content that every day I prepare just for you. Awesome, moving on. Last phrasal verb of the night? I think so. I didn't put numbers. Oops. Okay, here we are. To slow down. This is perhaps the easiest one. Most students know this phrasal verb. And just a disclaimer again, there may be other meanings for this phrasal verb, okay? But the idea here is car, driving. It's connected to driving. So to slow down means to reduce the speed of your car. So maybe you are on the highway and you're driving at 100 miles per hour. That in kilometers would be 160 kilometers per hour. That's too fast. Slow down. So maybe you are in the you are a passenger and the person is driving too fast. Maybe you are in a trip by Uber, okay? You took an Uber and the person is driving too fast, so you could kindly ask, excuse me, could you slow down a little? Thank you so much. So slow down to reduce the speed of your car. You're driving too fast, so you have to slow down. So here an example. You are driving too fast. You are driving too fast. Slow down. You don't want to get another speeding ticket, do you? Huh. So this is something I always tell my dad because my dad is always driving too fast. Slow down. Okay? Very nice, my friends. Homework of today is you're going to choose 2 phrasal verbs of today's lesson. And what are you going to do? You are going to write 2 examples, okay? Leah or Leia, no, fill up can be used for other things. All these phrasal verbs will be used in other situations, okay? But the focus today was to talk about driving and driving connected related subjects. But if you Google it, you will see that fill up can be used in other situations, okay? Excellent. So as I was saying, make sure to give me 2 examples in the comments. Right now, if you're watching this live, you're going to type in the chat. But no, I want you to come back and post in the comments 2 examples. Okay? Other than that, guys, have a lovely evening or night or day or afternoon. I don't know. And I will see you tomorrow for another lesson that you guys requested. And I'm going to be giving the first part tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.